You're listening to the Undisputed Wrestling Show on the Angry Marks Podcast Network, featuring the Bearded Wonder Zane Paisley, Sign Guy, Drew Skills, and the Morning Star, William Huckabee.
The Undisputed Wrestling Show is now. I am one of the hosts. I am the Bearded Wonder Zane Paisley. Also on the line with us tonight, our host for this evening, we've got Sign Guy. Sign Guy is one of the best professional wrestling referees in the United States, specifically in the Pacific Northwest, and he is Kevin Sullivan's favorite referee. Sign Guy, how are you this evening?
Doing fairly well.
Excellent, excellent. Also on the line with us tonight, we've got another host who's been tearing it up at Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment and all around the Southeast. We've got the incredible Huck, William Huckabee. Huck, how are you this evening?
Doing great, man. Had a great weekend. Having a pretty awesome week and stuff. A couple bumps and bruises, but I'm ready for tonight, man, as usual.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Drew Skills is on sabbatical this evening, so you're going to have the three of us, but we are proud to present to you our first guest. He is direct from, I'm not sure if he's from Milwaukee or Waukesha, but you've seen him on Ring of Honor, and we've got the Beer City Bruiser.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Doing fairly well this evening. First of all, thank you, sir, for joining us here on the Undisputed Wrestling Show on Angry Marks Podcast Network. To start things off, do you want to give us a little bit of background as to how you got involved in pro wrestling?
Yeah, I've been a fan of pro wrestling since I was 7. My uncle took me to a fair here in Wisconsin, like the very northern part of Wisconsin, and the AWA was there. And the main event happened to be Stan Hansen versus Bruiser Brody. And mind you, I'm only a 7-year-old fat kid, and Brody just brawled right past me. I mean, both of them did. And I looked up at Brody, and he was just larger than life. And I looked at my uncle and says, I'm hooked. This is what I want to do. So you fast forward a few years, and a friend of mine's neighbor was actually a pro wrestler, and he had just done a fantasy camp for some backyarders. There were some backyarders that were doing some backyard wrestling, and so they set up a ring in the back, and they're trying to teach them. And my friend introduced me to him, and he says, well, if you want to become a pro wrestler, get in contact with a guy named Trevor Adonis. So I gave him a call. I paid $150, and my 2-hour fantasy camp ended up being 4 hours long. And he hooked me up with training, and I'd set up the ring before shows, train, show got over, I'd train after, tear down, drive the guys to all the cities and whatnot. And then after about 4 years in business, I decided to move to Missouri, and I attended the Harley Race Wrestling Academy. And that's where everything just kind of came together for me.
Getting started in Wisconsin, there's a pretty rich history of pro wrestling up there. AWA, like you said, was up there for a very, very long time. They've had a large number of independents. What was it like when you were getting started, having to differentiate yourself enough so that you could break out of the pack?
The really cool thing is where I started. Not only was I close enough to Milwaukee, but I was close enough to the Chicago area also. Or if I wanted to go up to Minnesota, the Minneapolis area, I could do that. So basically what I did is I got on the road and worked any show that I could. I did what Brutal Bob Evans calls the hustle. I drove the miles, I made the towns, I would set up if I needed to. I was humble, I was very respectful. Anytime someone taught me something, I'd apply it and I'd use it. And for being a large guy, I'm pretty agile, so that kind of got noticed. Where at the time that I broke in, a lot of the guys my size, they couldn't bump, they couldn't, keep up with the smaller guys. But me, I just took it as, all right, well, that's the way to get noticed, and I'm just going to keep my agility up, my cardio up, and keep up with these guys and show that I'm meant to be here. So I think that helps.
Now, in my research, I understand you were part of a tag team at one point called the Spanish Stew. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's what I was under the name Dinty Moore. One of the vets when I was first training came up with the name. She said that I should be a lumberjack character because I'm from Wisconsin and whatnot. And the vets all had a brainstorm about what do lumberjacks eat, and they came up with some stupid names, and they settled on Dinty Moore. And I was just so green at the time, I didn't say no, and ended up sticking with it for the first, I don't know, like 7-8 years of my career. And, no, even longer than that, almost 10 years. And, there was another guy named Alvato in the area that I travel with, and he was just a good buddy of mine. So we decided to start tagging together, and out of the blue, a fan in the front row at one of the shows in Green Bay just called the Spanish Stew. And it just stuck. And all the promoters loved it. The t-shirts that we had sold, the hats, we had hats made, we had little cans that we put labels on, that sold. I mean, it was a real marketable tag team. So it was a lot of fun.
Now, flash forward to more present day, my understanding is you have an upcoming title defense for the Brew City Wrestling up in Wisconsin against the Tokyo Monster Cahagas. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what's going to be going down with Cahagas?
Yeah, it's this Friday, August 19th at the Knights of Columbus, 92nd in Greenfield. Cahagas and I actually just wrestled for the AIWF World Heavyweight title at the Wisconsin State Fair for Brew City. And I shouldn't say wrestled, we more or less fought and brawled. I've never been chopped as hard as I have been by him, and I'm sure he could say the same about me. I mean, we both left there just chests all bloody and red, and you know, there was 3,000 to 4,000 people there that all loved it, saying they loved the match. So now Friday, going into it, I see he's got Kevin Sullivan helping him out and whatnot. So I've been preparing myself. There's a wrestling academy here in Wisconsin that I'm the head trainer at called the Thumper's Den Wrestling Academy. It's run by Frankie the Thumper DeFalco. So I've been in here almost every single day, getting my cardio up, you know, strengthening, you know, getting the punches and the chops ready, because I'm not expecting a technical wrestling match, if you will. More of a brawl, which I'm kind of used to, you know, the barroom brawls and whatnot.
Well, I just worked a couple of shows in Portland with Cahagas. I know he is raring to go, and like you said, he recruited his sometimes manager Kevin Sullivan for a bit of advice. Have you had many dealings with Kevin Sullivan going into Friday, or is this a new aspect of Cahagas you've not dealt with before?
This is a new aspect to Cahagas, but I've been in Ring of Honor now, and I got to see what Sullivan did to BJ Whitmer and Steve Carino. I don't know if you guys recall the last pay-per-view when they had the fight without honor, you know, and Kevin was there. So I fully know what the Master of Evil's about. And I'm not taking it too lightly. You know, I mean, Cahagas is already an opponent that knows what he's doing and can hold his own, but he's never been in a bar fight with me, you know. I mean, I drink and I fight. It's what I do. So I'm concerned, but I think I'll be able to handle it. I got my manager JP with me in my corner. He's the brains behind most of it. So we saw the Kevin Sullivan thing. He right away went to the drawing board. We'll see what happens.
Oh, on Sunday, Cahagas and the aforementioned BJ Whitmer were in a 6-man tag team match, and they teamed up as the Dungeon of Doom, along with another guy Kevin Sullivan has been mentoring out here. So you might be on the lookout for other members of the Dungeon of Doom, apparently.
I will keep my eye out. That's news to me, but you know what, I wouldn't put it past those guys. I mean, Kevin Sullivan's he's always been one of the most evil guys in professional wrestling, and I can see him rebuilding the Dungeon.
He is definitely working on it. Now, you mentioned the Ring of Honor pay-per-view where Kevin Sullivan appeared. You're pretty active in Ring of Honor, and you've been teaming up as of late with Silas Young. What's it been like tag teaming with someone that is from your area of the country on the national stage?
It's been amazing. Silas and I broke in together. He's he grew up about 2 hours north of me. But when we started wrestling, you always cross paths and whatnot. And, we only tagged with each other once before we got into Ring of Honor. But we always wrestled against each other. And I always say your best tag team partner is probably one of your best opponents because you guys just know everything about each other. When they put us together, last July in Minnesota against War Machine, we figured why not? Let's give it a try. And something clicked. It was something happened and it was just amazing. And traveling with Silas, is a lot different now than what it used to be. When we used to travel, we were so young to the business, we didn't understand a lot of things. Now when we travel, we're talking, tag team moves we can do, secrets that we can hold, to work together, goals that we both want to achieve as a tag team. We're always working on promos. I'm always picking his brain for his ring psychology. He's always picking my brain for mine. And it's fun tagging with somebody who loves the business as much as I do and who has the brain like Silas does. He's one of the smartest men in wrestling, and it's just an honor to travel with him and pick that brain.
Well, at this point, I'm going to pass the interview over to the former NWA Continental Champion, the incredible Will Huckabee.
First of all, dear Steve, thanks for being a guest on the show once again.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Now I want to talk a lot about the singles wrestling and stuff, man. Of course, you've already kind of mentioned beforehand that you are the present, current reigning and defending AIWF World Heavyweight Champion by defeating, one of my mentors, Damian Wayne. How's that feel?
Yeah, it actually feels really good. To beat a guy like Damian Wayne who held the title for 400 and some days was an achievement. We also did it it's called Summerfest. It's the largest music festival in Milwaukee. They had 6,500 fans there. All of them were on their feet. Damian is a true athlete, true class act, but in the end, I beat him, and it felt really good. And having that title, means a lot to me. So I'm gonna do what I can to keep it.
The first time I actually saw you perform, the first time I actually saw you wrestle, was during the Top Prospect tournament for ROH and stuff. And I hate to admit, but I have to agree with a lot of things and a lot of comments you see on ROH online, where, the comments are, hey, this guy doesn't look like he goes to the gym, looks more like he belongs in the seats than in the ring. And then you get in the ring and it's like, holy shit, did you just see that move? Did you see this guy? You know what I'm saying? I can't believe he can move as fast, as agile as he can. I'm going to take it. I'm going to ask you, is that a big part of your gimmick, or do you just like to drink beer just that much?
My look's a big part of my gimmick. I am in the gym. I am at the wrestling school 4 days a week. On top of that, I'm also in the gym 4 to 5 days a week. I love my beer though, and that's where I get the real tonness from. But I am, I look at it as now, especially being in Ring of Honor, I got to keep up with the likes of, the Briscoes, Matt Sydal, ACH, even Silas, my tag team partner. And I always believed, and I was always taught, don't judge a book by its cover. So that Top Prospect tournament, when I went out and everyone was, oh my God, look at this guy. And then I did what I did, that kind of was a good feeling, like, hey, don't judge a book by its cover. Wait till you open it up and you'll see some things. And, I like surprising people like that. I think that adds a little bit to the wrestling. It adds to why people should come watch me wrestle, because they don't know what I'm going to do next.
Now, I will tell you, of course, you were the surprise for me, ROH. I saw the match with Will Ferrara, and like I said, I was completely shocked at the agility and the speed and everything. A lot of the other guys I was way more familiar with from being on shows and just being on the East Coast, period. But let's be honest, you're not a top prospect. When they say top prospect, they're saying, in my opinion, they're saying somebody who's been wrestling, for like 4 or 5 years, and you are what I consider a serious vet, and not only the fact that you've been wrestling for 15 years, but you was trained by the legendary Harley Race, who's one of the toughest men in professional wrestling. How do you stay so humble when you have so many accolades and so many attributes under your belt?
The way I look at it, and I was brought in real early, I was taught both by Harley and Trevor Adonis that wrestling doesn't owe me anything. I owe wrestling everything. You know, the sport of wrestling was here before me, and it's going to be here long after me. So in order to make my mark and do what I got to do, just be humble. You know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own critique and whatnot. It doesn't mean it has to define me or change me. You know, so I look at it as being humble. I like to treat people the way that I like to be treated. You know, I like to respect the guys that came before me. These young guys, just because they're young guys, especially in the top prospect term, just because they're young guys doesn't mean they're hungry and they don't want to achieve success, you know. However, they shouldn't underestimate, even though I've been in the business for going on 17 years now, shouldn't underestimate, oh, he's the old guy in the tournament. And I kind of proved that to them, you know. So just being humble is just the way I was started out. And Harley preached that. Like, Harley's the toughest guy in the business, but he's still one of the most humble guys, you know. He will give you the shirt off his back if you need a, you know, and I always took that to heart. You know, here's this guy who can literally beat anybody up at, you know, 70-some years old, and he's willing to help pay one of his students' electric bills. You know, he doesn't have to do that. You know, he's told me, you know, wrestling doesn't owe you anything. You owe wrestling everything.
Now, before I pass it over to our next host and stuff, I've got to ask, because obviously with the name Beer City Bruiser, you obviously can definitely put him back. So I have two more questions. Average night, how many beers do you drink in an average night?
An average night, if I'm not looking to have a good time, it's just me by myself, I can probably put away a 12-pack. If I'm out having a good time after shows, I've lost count after about a case. We had one time where it was me and another guy, Brandon Blaze, and then the third guy who goes by the name Roadhouse, and we polished up the keg by ourselves. So, you know, I like beer. Beer's good, especially victory beer after a match. That's always really good.
All right, so being that you said that you've been drinking upwards of a case in a business full of notorious partiers. Let's say you, Chase Stevens, trying to think who else is in. Oh, and Jock Simpson are all in the room drinking Last Man Standing. Who's gonna walk out the room? Dave. Now they can put them away. I've heard. I've drank with Chase early on in my career. I don't know if he remembers it. I think I could hold my own, man. I think, you know, I'm from Wisconsin for one, you know, and I mean, this is the home of brew, you know. We always say drink responsibly, you know, which I used to love going down to when I was down in Missouri. The only one that could drink me into the table down there was Harley. You know, and I've never seen anybody drink Harley. I've seen Harley put away 2 bottles of scotch and still get home safely. You know, like, so I think I could hold my own, man. I think I could do it. And I love the challenge, too. Jock and Chase seem like, you know, some pretty cool dudes to hang out with. Let's put them away, you know? I was just asking, man, because drinking with Chase when you drink with Chase Stevens and Jock Simpson, I had the pleasure of doing that, like, last month. You basically got to rearrange your entire life. For like the next week of just recuperating. You just got to kind of clear out the next 4 or 5 days schedule of just saying, hey, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to call it work and I'm just going to recuperate and give my liver a break.
Yeah, I always get ribbed up when I go places where I can drive and I'm not flying, because I have my gear bag and then I have my quote unquote workout bag, and inside my quote unquote workout bag is usually a case of beer.
Well, thank you for talking to me. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Doc's Wonder Beard, the bearded wonder, Zane Paisley. Zane, what do you have for Beer City?
Well, once again, this is the Undisputed Wrestling Show on Angry Marks Podcast Network. We've got Ring of Honor star, the Beer City Bruiser. Well, I've heard about how many you can put down, but you never mentioned any brands. What kind of beer do you drink?
I'm a Coors Light man, personally. I love Coors Light. When I'm on the East Coast, I love Yuengling. I discovered that actually when I did my ROH tryout camp. About 2 months before the camp, my wife and I were on our honeymoon in Gettysburg, and we saw a guy, and he had mentioned it. So I never picked it up. Then after the tryout camp, I thought I did such a good job, I'm going to buy some, and I bought the Yuengling. And that's been my favorite beer. But you only get on the East Coast. I have a trainee who comes to our school. She's from Cincinnati. and she can get it there. So every time she comes in for our shows and stuff, she always brings me a case of Yingling. So I always have one on standby. But Coors Light's my drink of choice whenever I'm traveling. Everybody has that. If I'm in a mood to just enjoy, a meal and something like that, I'll probably put away a Guinness or a Blue Moon. But if I'm just looking to drink to have a good time, Coors Light's old reliable. It's old faithful.
Well, I'm in Indianapolis, so I have to go to Ohio to be able to get Yingling. But it's really good, and it's cheap. It's like the same price as Budweiser.
See, you're mentioning Budweiser, and that's just not good here. When I lived in Missouri, it was miserable except Budweiser, and there's no Miller products. And Coors Light's a Miller product. So I thankfully, every time I went back home to visit my parents, I got, loaded up so I could have it.
If I'm buying, then my favorite beer is Pabst. If someone else is buying, it's going to be something a little bit fancier, but.
See, I never thought about that. If somebody else is buying, I should always go with the fancy stuff, but for some reason, I just go for the old faithful.
All right. So you've got the big event on this coming Friday at the Summer Sizzler 12 in Milwaukee. What else you got coming up?
The Saturday then, on the 20th, I'm down for POW Entertainment at TUWS Bar. I just got added onto that. I had a show cancel on me, and Jimmy Blaze, the promoter down there, I contacted him. He put me on last minute. Then next week, I got some Bruce City Wrestling again. We got a fair going on. And then I'm on the road the 16th and 17th for Ring of Honor. We got Pittsburgh and Lockport. Then I'm going to Canada for 2 weeks for CWE. And I'll be up there for 2 weeks doing the Winnipeg area. And then I actually get off that tour, fly from that tour into Lowell, Massachusetts for the Ring of Honor TV tapings on October 1st. So I'm pretty much on the road all of September and October, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Now, who came up with your tag team name with Silas Young?
The Milwaukee's Worst was actually Jeff Jones.
Jeff Jones.
Yeah, we just got done with qualifying for the Tag Wars, and we were filming the vignette that they were going to air of us challenging everybody. And there's a beer called Milwaukee's Best they serve here in Milwaukee. And Jeff goes, you guys should say something about how you're not the best, You're Milwaukee's Worst because you don't need those people. You're the worst. And we said it, and it just, we both kind of looked at each other and went, this actually fits really well. So we've been trying to pitch it to the TV people, let us use it on TV, but they haven't gone with it yet. So hopefully within the next couple shows, we'll be able to officially be labeled that.
Well, I love it. I think it's awesome. I've also loved your new Bruiser Sketch 1 shirt, along with your other shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees. Tell our listeners how they can get a hold of those.
If you go to ProWrestlingTees.com /Beer City Bruiser, I have 3 shirts on there right now. I've actually got 2 more that I'll be releasing pretty soon. So if they go there, they can buy them there. Otherwise, I will have shirts at shows. I have the 3 that are on there and I'll have a few extra. They can hit me up on Facebook. I'm under Matt Winchester, or they can like my fan page, which is the Beer City Bruiser, or they can follow me on Twitter at BCB Winchester.
Well, awesome. We appreciate your time with us tonight. Is there anything else you want to tell your fans while you've got this open for them?
Yeah, come out to the shows. Buy me a beer. Watch me drink and fight. I got pictures for sale. Support your local wrestling organization. Everybody out there is trying to make $1. And any promoters that want to book me, like I said, Facebook, Matt Winchester, or the Beer City Bruiser, or at bcbwinchester.com, or Twitter,
Yeah, and fans of Beer City Bruiser, make sure to bring him a nice Coors Light, or if you have the opportunity, bring him Yingling. He would be most appreciative.
Well, definitely. The more the beer, the better.
Well, thank you so much. Sign Guy, did you have anything to wrap up with the Beer City Bruiser?
No, I'm all good. So just best of luck with Gahagas on Friday.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, sir. You have a fantastic evening, and best of luck this weekend on your shows.
Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, guys. That was a fun little interview with the Beer City Bruiser, and that was very nice of him to come back. We had him previously scheduled, and something had happened on our end, and He was very nice to be able to reschedule and come back with us. Later on the show, we've got Crazii Shea, who producer Killer Kev is a big fan of. Next week should be a fun show. We've got the Last Warrior Grey Wolf, and I have a feeling that the Prophet Rick Craig might show up with him. And in the second hour next week, we've got Concussion. And then the first show in September, which is September 6th, big show. We've got Buff Bagwell, Buff the Stuff. We'll be talking with him. He's been on previously, so we'll be catching up with him. And Sign Guy, I know you're super excited. We can talk about ginormous belts and hot nursing school with Casey Carlisle.
That's a solid plan right there.
All right, I've got a couple questions for you, but since I haven't talked with you guys for a long time, Will, how was your past weekend?
Man, this weekend was amazing, bro. It was a weekend of AWE, like I was telling Sound Guy. Saturday night we did a school function, raising money for a local school and stuff, in Atlanta, Georgia and stuff. Me and my partner, Joe Black, took on two very new teams. All of them actually are trainees of George South at Hotspots and stuff, and it was kind of rough, whatever, but we made do, and we definitely won that match. We also got to see one of the last matches of Cedric Alexander. He was there facing Jimmy Rave and stuff for the Georgia Crown Heavyweight Championship. Of course, Jimmy Rave retained his title using his world-famous finisher, the smallest package ever. And then Saturday... And then Saturday we came out victorious as became the number one contenders for the AWE tag team titles, currently held by Murder One and Chip Day, who are known as the Kraken, and was probably the most original tag team match ever. Zane, it was a tag team Royal Rumble match. So they started off with two teams, and then every 5 minutes another team came out, and it was a total.
5 minutes.
Yeah, every 5 minutes, yes.
Was it a standard fall, or was it over the top, or?
You had to win by pinfall or submission.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was probably one of the most original, creative matches I've ever been a part of. A lot of really good tag teams. We had this one tag team from Canada, me and Joe Black, a couple of, like I said, one tag team that was representing Hotspots, Slade Porter, Kiera Hogan. There was a female in the tag team, Kiera Hogan, her tag team partner, Owen Knight. It was pretty amazing, man. It was listening to the concept, you think that it was, a huge clusterfuck, but it really wasn't. It was like 7 teams total, in this Royal Rumble style match. And we ended up being in the match for about 25 minutes. We was in the match for 25 out of a 40-minute match. And it was really, really cool. It was fun. Had a lot of fun this weekend.
And so you and Joe Black are the number one contenders for that belt?
Yes, we are. I want to say there's no show in September, but I definitely think that we'll probably go ahead and challenge for that. Go ahead and take the first opportunity available to us to go ahead and try to challenge for the titles and stuff in October.
Awesome. And did you have any greenies driving up with you for the Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment tryout?
Did you not see the pictures of me on Facebook and Instagram and stuff? It was just me by myself.
Somebody called me a lawyer earlier, so I'm using a lawyer question. Lawyers never ask questions that they don't already know the answer to.
Yeah, it was just me, unfortunately. But there was, like I said, there was a lot of green kids. There was a lot of greenies from Hotspots. A lot of George South's trainees actually made the drive in the car. There was like 4 or 5 of them in the car and stuff, man. They all drove down there and stuff, looking for opportunities, looking for spots and stuff. And several of them got opportunities and stuff. And they're going to bring some of them back. And then, some of them still need more seasoning and stuff. So, even though nobody rolled with me, there was still some green kids out there and stuff who were willing to do like Bob Evans says, and make the drives and stuff, man, and hustle.
Well, at some point when we have Joseph Schwartz on here, I want to get a big discussion with you and Schwartz and Sign Guy about taking green kids under the wing, because I'm not part of that equation in my world, but And I know you guys go out of your way to try to help the business out, and sometimes it doesn't always work out. So, Sign Guy, how was your weekend, buddy?
It was not too bad. Saturday I was in Bremerton, Washington, and was part of the joint SCW and CPW show. And then Sunday I was back down in Portland for NWA Blue Collar, and there were 3 versions of Kevin Sullivan's Dungeon of Doom coming together to form one gigantic 6-man tag. We had BJ Whitmer and Kelly Klein on both shows as they've been in the Pacific Northwest this week. So it was a couple of really big shows here in the Northwest.
Say, Kelly Klein wasn't a member of the Dungeon of Doom, though, was she?
She was not. Technically speaking, I don't know if she is or not. I have asked, and I was told that since Kevin Sullivan has aligned with his favorite son, B.J. Whitmer, and B.J. Whitmer is aligned with Kelly Klein on Ring of Honor when they do the Women of Honor, then that would mean that Kevin Sullivan is kind of upper management for her. So I think there's a loose connection, I asked.
Awesome. I was in beautiful Shelbyville, Indiana, at the Shelby County Fairgrounds there for All Star Pro Wrestling, which is put together by Tom Van Zant and Troy Van Zant. There were no big names on the card, no national names on the card, but man, it was just top to bottom a great event. The 2 best matches of the night were the bookend matches. The opening match was Diamond Cut Ace Perry, and he took on Have Mercy Percy Davis. Both these guys are School of Rock kids. Just a phenomenal opening match. And then in the main event was an awesome hoss fight. It was Clint Poe, the All-Star Pro Wrestling champion, heavyweight champion, took on Drew Skills, and it went to a no contest because Drew gave the Drew drop to the referee Toby Lee. So it was an amazing show. It was great. The crowd was hot. The crowd was packed, and the crowd was hot all night long. And I got some great advice from Drew Skills. He saw me at intermission, and for all the ring announcers out there, you know, I've been doing it for a year, so I am definitely not a vet at all. But you know, I've worked in front of hot crowds, but not sustained match after match after match. So Drew pointed out to me, don't go out there in between matches if they're already hot. Don't go out there and ask them how they're doing or make some noise, because by the end of the show they're going to be burnt out if I kept doing that, because they were popping on the finishes, popping on the entrances and everything else in between. I didn't need to keep them hot. The wrestling kept them hot. My job was just to introduce. So take that for what it is. If any other ring announcers are out there listening. So all right, guys. First off, the Olympics are on right now. Team USA is tearing it up. Just for our listeners' sake, what is your favorite Olympic event, Summer Olympic event, Will?
My favorite Summer Olympic event, I would say, the track and field, man. That's what the bread and butter is, man. I love the track and field, especially with the amazing show of athleticism that Usain Bolt showed, you know, a couple of days ago. Like, it's moments like that, not only him winning the 100-meter race, but also the 4x1. And just the race that they ran and stuff is probably 2 of the greatest races ever in the history of the Olympics.
Did you see the Bahamian girl dive in front of the U.S. runner to win the women's 400?
Again?
Did you see the woman from the Bahamas that literally dove to cross the finish line to win the gold?
Yes. That was oh my goodness, that was so crazy. Like, this has been such a great Olympic season, man. America just had its first medal winner in weightlifting in like 30-some years. With that one female and stuff.
Oh, she was them. Sarah Robles.
Yes, her. And it was so touching that the first phone call she made was to her grandmother, because her mom was already in the audience. And then, you had Michael Phelps becoming probably the greatest Olympian ever, with 23 gold medals. It's just so many great things, of course, the U.S. gymnastics team and stuff, and Simone Biles, who's been called the greatest gymnast, ever. It's so great and amazing to watch and stuff.
Well, I've got an assignment for you if you're willing to accept it. I want you to get Timmy Lou Retton's opinion on the gymnastics so far, and because they are wrapping up, and give us a report next week from Timmy Lou Retton, if you could.
I will definitely do that.
Okay. Sign Guy, what's your favorite summer Olympic event?
I was always a fan of Olympic basketball. You get to see the international teams compete, and a lot of those players eventually make their way stateside. So always find them interesting to watch from a basketball fan's point of view.
Well, I was shocked the other night when Team USA beat, I think it was Australia, by only 3 points, something like that. It was crazy. They should, I don't know. It's the best of the best in the world, and they're dogging it out there sometimes.
Well, you got to remember too, the parity of play is much shorter than it was years ago. Years ago, say even 20 years ago, the Americans were overwhelmingly dominant, but the ability is picked up exponentially in a lot of these countries, so you don't have the automatic easy wins for the Americans like you used to have years ago. The play has progressed and has been adapted. Now, really any team can beat any other team in a given Olympics. There's just so many quality players overseas.
Well, that is a good point. One of the sports that I've never really paid attention to before, but I tried to watch it as much as I could this year. Two different sports. Archery, which I don't know, that was just mesmerizing. You'd turn it on, and it didn't matter if there was an American in it or not. You'd turn it on and not be able to turn away from it. And handball, which I'm shocked that handball isn't a bigger sport in the United States, because it looks like a lot of fun, and it doesn't look like you have to have a lot of equipment. I don't know. It just seemed like a good thing. So, the reason I was discussing the Olympics, I'd heard this on another podcast. It was on the Masked Man show. The Masked Man, Dave Shoemaker, and his guest were talking about if it would be entertaining or something good if professional wrestling was an Olympic sport. And before anybody has a cow and say, oh, it's predetermined, well, I'm talking about as a gymnastics type event, where, Team USA could be Ricochet and, another American, taking each other on and having it judged. And for those who say, well, it's not a real sport, well, trampoline is an Olympic sport. So, Will Huckabee, what do you think about that? Do you think that professional wrestling could ever be considered an Olympic sport?
No. No, I don't. I think it would be a cool concept to see, especially, you had the matches like Ricochet versus Will Ospreay and stuff, and then you judge them based on the quality of moves they've done. But at the same time...
You do that. Will Ospreay is isn't he British?
English.
Or?
Yes, he's English. That's what I'm saying. So, it'd be cool.
Will Ospreay versus Zack Sabre Jr., since they're both British. They can represent the United Kingdom.
Yeah. But then you would put them, or so you said they would choreograph a match and they would put together the best match would win?
Yes. It would be judged by judges. And, it would be England's match versus US's match. And I'm talking that if it took off, they could do different weight classes. the best Haas match, the best cruiserweight match, that sort of thing. I'm not talking about, an individual would get the medal. It would be the team would get that put together the match.
Oh shit! Well, in that case, then yeah, I would. You know what? Since you put it like that, describe it like that, then yeah, that actually would be a pretty cool concept. I would love to see what kind of matches or what kind of spots guys would be willing to put through or put together and stuff. If they know that there's an Olympic gold medal at the end of it, the only bad thing I could probably see is who's going to pick the wrestlers. Can you really say, hey, this guy, because wrestling, sometimes guys have bad moments, but guys have bad days, and shit happens in the wrestling ring. Who's to say, hey, this guy's the best heavyweight wrestler we have, this guy's the best, high flyer we have, tag teams, et cetera, best female wrestler. Just because, things happen in wrestling. People twist ankles, people get sprained, shit happens during the match, like, oh man. But the way you put it, the way you described it, I would love to see, like, an event like that. I would definitely love to see that.
Well, what about you, Sign Guy? What would you think about that as an Olympic sport?
I'm not sold on it as an Olympic sport because it's really subjective. It's more of an art form than something you could really judge for a routine. Also, a lot of styles would kind of clash, so it'd be hard to really judge a wrestling match, I think. Interesting concept if it was to be held on a professional wrestling show and do it under the confines of strictly pro wrestling. I don't know if at the Olympics that it would be something you could really medal people on just because of the various factors involved.
Well, that actually leads me to my next point. I think that with the success that the World Cruiserweight Classic has been for the WWE Network, what if WWE put on that sort of thing?
That I could see working.
What about you, Will? Do you think that would work as a WWE special?
Yeah, actually, if anybody could put that together, it would definitely be Vince McMahon.
Really? I think it would be Hunter that would be putting that together, really. So if you could nominate two wrestlers from the United States to take each other on for that type of event, who would you have as your two participants, Will?
I would say we're based off like agility and high flying spots and stuff like that, correct?
Whatever you determine to be a great pro wrestling match that would deserve a gold medal.
I would say based on his performance last week, and the fact that he was trending worldwide on Twitter, my first pick would have to be Cedric Alexander. And then my second pick would have to be, I would definitely go with Ricochet, yeah. So Ricochet versus Cedric Alexander.
I think that would be a fine match. What about you, Sign Guy?
We're going for the United States.
Or you can pick a different nationality, whatever you want.
Let's see. I'll go Canada, and let's go with let's go with Teddy Hart versus Dr. Luther, just to make it interesting.
I don't know if Teddy Hart would be able to pass all the tests that would be involved in that, but it would be an interesting match. All right, guys. This is the Undisputed Wrestling Show on the Angry Marks Podcast Network. You can catch us all. You can download us on your phone. I use an Apple phone, so I go to the podcast app and I type in keyword Angry Marks, all one word. I hit the subscribe button so I can listen to all the awesome Angry Marks Podcast Network shows, including Over the Top Radio, Thursday AMP, and all the other great shows. I know for Android users, they can go to their app store there and hit the Double Pod app, and same thing, keyword Angry Marks, and listen to all the great shows. You can also go to AngryMarks.com. You can catch up on all your awesome professional wrestling and mixed martial arts news from them. And you can go to the UndisputedWrestlingShow.weebly.com. you can check out all of our past episodes. They've got a nice little picture of all of our past guests. You just click the button there, and you can listen to all of our previous episodes. You can also find out about our upcoming guests. Like I just mentioned, next week we've got The Last Warrior Grey Wolf with the Prophet Rick Craig and Concussion. On September 6th, we've got Buff the Stuff Bagwell and Casey Carlisle. Should be a fun show. And coming up, we've got amazing Nate Matson on the 13th, and I just saw him at a great event in Fort Wayne for Wrestling for Warriors. Also on the 20th is Mysterious Movado out of Detroit, which I saw him there in Fort Wayne at Wrestling for Warriors. And then on 9/27, we've got Kevin Thorne, who's one of my favorite guys. He always brings me, whenever I see him, literally every time I see him, he gives me something PBR related, whether it's a hat or a koozie or a lanyard or something. He's always got PBR gimmicks to give to me. Also on that show will be Caleb Still, so it should be a great show coming up at the end of September. Guys, we want to go into the SummerSlam picks here in just a few moments, but what do you have coming up this coming weekend? We'll start with you, Sign Guy.
Well, it'll be similar to last week. At least on Saturday, there is another joint SCW and CPW show in Bremerton, Washington. B-Boy from Lucha Underground is scheduled to be there. And then on Sunday, a little bit up in the air. I'm not sure if I will be at NWA Blue Collar or not. I haven't gotten the formal yes or no if I'm needed. But they also are running Saturday at the annual cruise-in event at Patty's Home Plate in St. John's in Portland, Oregon. Annual outdoor show, free of charge, and it usually gets extremely wild on those shows.
Extremely wild. You'll have to give us a report from that.
I personally won't be there. I'll be in Bremerton, but I will get a report from someone and pass it along. I can confirm that one year the St. John's Bridge came into play.
Well, that sounds awesome. Will, what do you got coming up this weekend?
Oh, man, this weekend, Friday, I will be in East Ridge, Tennessee for UEW. I'm taking a rematch from like 3 years ago. Me versus Menace, for UEW in East Ridge, Tennessee. And then Saturday, I will be in Knoxville, Tennessee for Warzone Wrestling, taking on one half of the Death Row inmates, Shane Daniels.
Well, that sounds awesome. This coming Friday, I will be at WCWO at the Outlaw Arena, 1151 South Kentucky Avenue in beautiful downtown Indianapolis, Indiana. Should be a great show on Friday night. Saturday is my, 12-year anniversary with my wife. So we will be out celebrating, having a nice dinner together. So it should be fun. And on Sunday, I am not sure if I'm going to be able to make it to Rex Sharp's big SummerSlam bash, all-day buffet type thing going on. My wife's got a funeral that she's going to, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to make it or not. Also, my friend Rich Abbott is hosting a SummerSlam party at the Fox and Hound in Indianapolis with the Wrestling Theology Fellowship. So it should be a great SummerSlam weekend. Speaking of SummerSlam, do you guys want to give some predictions?
Sure. I have a question first. Isn't this a deal with the all-you-can-eat buffet? Is that an offshoot of the same thing that started up here with Chico Alvarez?
Yes. Rex copied that gimmick, and we've been doing it for the last couple of years. It's been fun.
I actually was at a couple of the ones up here with the aforementioned Chico Alvarez.
Well, very nice. It's always fun to get stuffed on Chinese food and then watch some pro wrestling. It's a great night to do it. Although they did push the start time for SummerSlam to 7 p.m., and they're having a 2-hour pre-show. So really the WWE Network coverage will start at 5 p.m. on the Eastern Time Zone, so that's quite early. So I'm not sure what time we'll have to start the Chinese buffet. So, all right. Well, the matches that I have 11 matches listed, and we do tape on Tuesday evenings while SmackDown is going on. So, listeners, if we've left off any matches that they've recently announced, we apologize in advance. The first match I have on my card is a 6-woman tag team match. It is the team of Becky Lynch, Carmella, and Naomi taking on the team of Natalya, Alexis Bliss, and Eva Marie. Will, who do you have in that match?
Oh, man, I'm going to say with that 100%, it's going to be Natalya, Eva Marie, and Alexis Bliss. I love what they're doing with Eva Marie and stuff, and I think that she's so hot right now. In such a weird way that hopefully they're not going to kill that momentum.
Why do you think that she's so hot right now? The wardrobe malfunction, the injury jumping off, or do you think that everybody is highly anticipating her actually wrestling?
I think that people are going to start, I think that hopefully they're doing the Ric Flair gimmick where you only really see her wrestle on big shows. But even in this match, if she doesn't get into the ring, like, people are going to be so pissed. I think that people are going to continue to tune into her matches just to see what happens when she finally wrestles and see if she's gotten any better.
All right, Sign Guy, who do you have? Becky Lynch, Carmella, and Naomi, or Natalya, Alexa Bliss, and Eva Marie?
That one's tough to call. I'm going to go with Becky Lynch's team just because they seem to be the ones that are wrestling right now. A little bit more of a serious team. I can see them maybe doing an angle after the match to prolong some of the feuds, but I think Becky's team will get the actual win.
Well, I'm going to go with Will on this. I think that with the combination of Alexa Bliss and Eva Marie, they need to get those two over more. Naomi is Naomi. She's good in the ring. Becky Lynch is obviously the women's star on SmackDown, so they don't need to get over as much, so I'm going to go with Eva Marie's team. All right, next match that I have listed is a singles match. It is a first match in a best-of-7 series. We've got Cesaro versus Sheamus, international match. So, Sign Guy, who's your winner in that match?
I think Sheamus will take the first one.
Okay. All right. Will, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Sanja. Even though both of them made really passionate speeches, promos, whatever, after they got drafted to SmackDown, I think they're gonna turn this into a WWE considered longer feud, and I think that they're gonna be the first one to Sheamus.
I'm gonna agree with you because they've already been feuding for the last couple of weeks, and Cesaro's had the upper hand, so I think that they need to give Sheamus the win on that. All right, singles match for the WWE United States Championship. It's a rematch from the match that we just saw on Monday Night Raw, but it wasn't for the title. We've got the challenger Roman Reigns versus the champion Rusev with his wife Lana at ringside. Will, who you got in that one?
Because after his little debacle and stuff, I feel like they're going to try to build him up. I'm going to give it to Roman Reigns.
Okay. All right. Sign Guy, what do you think?
I think Reigns will take it because I think they want him to still be in the upper half of the card, so I think they'll use him in the U.S. title picture until they can figure out a way to get him back in the Universal title picture.
Well, I'm going to disagree with both of you. Reigns just won last night. I think that Rusev will get his win back, and I think it's a good call to keep the belt on Rusev. He is the most dominant champion in WWE right now. He's the only singles champion on Raw right now, and I know that's going to change after Sunday night. But I think that he's a great champion, and I think that they'll keep him strong. So I'm going to go with Rusev on that.
Well, you say most dominant champion. New Day's held it for almost a year.
Yeah, but it's New Day is normally the ones who are defending the titles are Kofi Kingston and Big E Langston, and Big E is out right now. I'm not sure. I know that it was a worked angle, but I'm not sure if he's got anything else going on right now why he's taking time off. So spoiler alert, I don't think that they're going to be champions after Sunday. So we'll talk about them here in just a few moments. But I think that Rusev is the most dominant champion. It didn't say longest reigning champion, but he's the most dominant champion right now. And I did throw in the caveat of he being the singles wrestler. So,
all right, I'll accept that.
Thank you, I appreciate it. All right, next match that I have listed is a tag team match. Enzo Amore and Big Cass, Colin Cassidy, taking on Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens, affectionately known as Jericho. Sign guy, who do you have in that one?
I think Jericho will take it just because it looks like they might be trying to establish them as a tag team, put them in the tag title picture. And Enzo and Big Cass right now are sort of like Teflon. Nothing's going to hurt them right now. So I think they'll establish the new team.
Okay. Will, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Sign Guy on this. I think that Jericho is going to get the nod and stuff on this one, and they're going to mix them up with the tag team title picture and stuff. And like you said, whether they win or lose, Enzo and Cass is still going to be as hot as ever. Like, a loss is not going to affect the popularity.
Man, you guys are going to be either I'm going to shove this in your faces next week, or you can shove it in my face. I think that Enzo and Cass are going to win, and the reason is I think that they just threw Jericho and Owens together to get Cass and Enzo over. And, I love the team of Jericho and Owens, but I think that they are going to feud here very shortly after SummerSlam. So, but we'll find out on Sunday who's right. Next match I have listed is the WWE Tag Team Championship match. The challengers, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, the Club, versus the New Day, which is going to be comprised of Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. I've already said my thoughts on it. I think that New Day are going to lose, and I think that they've been on top for too long, and I think that having Big E out with an injury is just a great excuse for him not to have to take the pinfall, and so I think that the Club's going to take it. What do you think, Will?
I think it's about time that they actually pulled the bullet, for lack of a better word, excuse the pun, but I think they need to go ahead and pull the trigger on the Club and stuff, man. They got to start, you brought these guys in so hot and stuff, man, and they're embarrassing guys and beating the shit out of guys, eventually you've got to give them a push and stuff, man. You got to get these guys on top. And I think that this is, like you said, the Big E Langston angle is how they're going to do it, to protect his size. And of course, they're still hot as ever. And I think that them chasing the titles is going to make them, if it's even possible, I think that them chasing the titles is going to make them even hotter.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. What do you think about that, Sign Guy?
I actually think that the New Day will retain, because I think they're going to try to go with the whole longest reigning champions of all time with them, Eclipse Demolition, and I think they'll keep it on. Maybe Big E returns at SummerSlam.
Well, according to WWE right now, they are the longest reigning champions because they don't consider the belts that they hold, that championship, to be the same as the ones that Demolition held, because, they had the Unified Championship and the SmackDown Championship and the World Tag Team Championship and the WWE Tag Team Championship. So in WWE, they say that New Day is the longest reigning champion, or tag team champion. So
I still think they'll go after Demolition, though. They'll try to surpass Demolition's mark, even though they already have Kendrick and London's mark.
Yeah. What? This is a very side note, but I wonder why during the whole Ascension thing, where they were talking about the Road Warriors and other painted teams. I think they mentioned Powers of Pain. They never talked about Demolition. So I'm wondering why WWE doesn't acknowledge Demolition, but who knows? Maybe they will after this. But I'm
it has to do with the lawsuit Billy Eady filed years ago.
Oh, okay. All right. Next match I have listed is a singles match. It's been a long-standing feud. We've got the face that runs the place, John Cena, versus the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. Sanjay, what do you got in that one?
I think Styles will take it. I think they're going to just keep building this feud as the new era feud that is like the standard bearer for feuds in this particular era. I think Styles will win it, and Cena will go after revenge, and they'll just keep going probably till WrestleMania.
Okay. What are your thoughts, Will?
I'm kind of torn on this one. I would like to say they're finally going to have AJ go over in a big time match. But at the same time, this is John Cena. This is the guy. You know what I'm saying? And he always, finds a way to come out on top. Except for when CM Punk is involved. But at the same time, we've noticed in recent history that John Cena has repeatedly put guys over and gave guys a nod and done the favor for talent and stuff. So with his recent track record, I'm going to say that AJ Styles is going to go over in this match.
And I apologize. Our producer, Killer Kev, we haven't included you, and we normally include you in these discussions. Do you have an opinion about AJ Styles versus John Cena?
I just hope it's a very, very good match. That's about the best I can hope for anything WWE these days.
Well, who do you got winning? You had to pick it.
I'd go with Styles.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go with AJ Styles as well. John Cena's got so many other projects going on right now. I wouldn't be shocked if he takes a hiatus after SummerSlam until we gear up for Survivor Series. It's a good time of year to do that, especially since Brock Lesnar is back in the mix. They don't need him as much, and I know that he's on SmackDown. Our listeners don't need to tweet at us about that. But I think that it would be a good time for him to take a break, so I'm going to go with AJ Styles. All right, next match that I have listed is the WWE Intercontinental Championship match. It is Apollo Crews taking on the champion, The Miz, with his wife, Maryse, at ringside. So let's go to Killer Kev first. Who do you got in that match?
Which match again?
Apollo Crews versus The Miz.
I'd like to take Apollo Crews, but they're probably going to put The Miz over.
Okay, so your prediction is The Miz. What about you, Huck?
I'm going to say the same thing. I would like to say Apollo Crews. He's such a great blend of style, of size and speed and agility. And in my opinion, he's a perfect representation of where the business or the sport of professional wrestling is headed, where you just can't be a big muscle guy. You can't be a muscle guy who can move. I think he's a great representation of that. But I think that and I hate to use this phrase, but I don't think that he's putting enough time as far as the company is involved, to carry that title yet. So, of course, The Miz, really makes that title right now for what it is. So with that being said, I'm going to go with The Miz.
Okay. All right. What about you, Sign Guy?
I think The Miz will win, but I don't think by pinfall or submission. I think they'll do a count out or a DQ so they can bring this one back. Because I think they're interested in Crews, but I don't think he's quite ready for the Intercontinental title. So I think they'll give him a little bit of time before he hits that. But I think they'll do something screwy.
Okay, I agree. I think that The Miz is going to hold on to it. I think that Apollo Crews, if it were pre-brand split where there were a couple other belts around on that particular show, then it would be okay to put it on him. But they need to build the Intercontinental Championship up. And I'm not saying that The Miz is building it up, although he has been very entertaining, really for the last 6 months to a year. I think that it's still a little too early to put it on Crews. So I'm going to stick with The Miz. All right. Next match that I see on my card is for the WWE Women's Championship. And Dana Brooke is barred from ringside per stipulation. So we've got Charlotte versus the champion Sasha Banks. Sign guy, who do you got in that one?
I think Sasha Banks will take it.
Why is that?
They seem to be pushing her stronger. She just got the title. I think they'll not want to kill that momentum since they just got her momentum started over again.
Okay. What about you, Will?
I'm actually going to go the exact opposite, and I'm going to say that Charlotte, even though what's her name is banned, Dana Brooke is banned from ringside. In my crazy world, I say that Ric Flair makes a return and screws Sasha Banks out of the title.
Okay, I'm gonna still stick with Sasha because I think that she's money. I think that they can build a lot from her, and Charlotte just had a very long reign between the Divas Championship and the Women's Championship. But I would love to see Dana Brooke come out, and Will, I'm stealing from you. I'd love to see Dana Brooke come out as a Black Scorpion. I think that would be fantastic. But I'm still going to say that Sasha is going to keep a hold of the title. All right, moving along, the WWE World Championship. And we've got the challenger Dolph Ziggler versus the champion Dean Ambrose. Huck, what are your thoughts?
Oh man, I'm gonna say Dean Ambrose retains. Dolph Ziggler, the spot that Dolph Ziggler is in is perfect for him. He's the guy that they use to solidify the guy that's going to go up to the top. That's his role. Like, he's the guy you have to work with before you get to work with the guy. And I think that Dean Ambrose really needs this match to show that he can actually scrap, that he can actually, that he can work, that he can wrestle. Everybody knows that Dolph Ziggler is probably the best actual technical wrestler in WWE right now. And I think that Dean Ambrose needs this match more than Dolph Ziggler needs this match. I think that Dean Ambrose has to win this match for his title reign to mean anything. So, with that being said, I think that Dean Ambrose is going to retain.
Okay. All right, what did you say, Sign Guy?
I think Ambrose would have to retain it because there's no way they could go with Ziggler as the champion right now, I think. He's just been buried for too long at this point, and it's been kind of even as far as the feud's gone since the brand split, so I think they'd be insane to let Ziggler win it at this point.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that Ambrose is gonna walk out as champion. I don't know if he's necessarily gonna win the match. I can see them trying to elevate Dolph by giving him a count out victory or DQ or a no contest where he can go toe to toe with the champion, but I don't think that Dean Ambrose is losing that belt. Right, next match that I have listed is the singles match for the WWE Universal Championship. Kind of excited because we do get to see the new belt. Hopefully it'll be a nice looking belt, and hopefully they'll be able to explain some lineage to it, although I don't think that they'll be able to. It is the former WWE World Champion, Seth Rollins, two-time World Champion, Seth Rollins, versus the former NXT Champion and IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, Finn Balor. Sign Guy, who do you got in that match?
I think Rollins will take it because I think Balor's just too new to the main roster that it'd be, I think, too soon to put him in as your main guy when you're just establishing this title. So I think they'll run with Rollins and maybe use it as a test to see if the fans accept Balor as the main guy on the show.
What about you, Will?
Right, so I think that this is going to be the upset match of the night. I think that Finn Balor is going to I think Finn Balor can become the new WWE Universal Champion. The reason why, several reasons. One, because you have so many other underdog matches, so many other matches where guys are like, there's no way they're going to win. You know, you have Apollo Crews going for the Intercontinental title, you have Dolph Ziggler. going for the WWE title and stuff. I think that this is going to be the feel-good moment of the night. I think that besides the fact that his past credentials being the IWGP World Junior Heavyweight Champion, the NXT Champion, the several other titles that he's held throughout his career and stuff, I think that he is he as champion will show that Raw is actually moving into a new direction, going into a different quote-unquote draft brand era. And I like Seth Rollins when he is chasing after the title, when he's a sneaky, asshole-ish, vindictive heel and stuff, man, he's getting underneath somebody's skin. That's the Seth Rollins that I really enjoy watching on TV. I think that with Finn Balor, I think that we're going to see Finn Balor become, for lack of a better word, the new John Cena. I think that, because I've seen more Balor Club T-shirts this weekend than any other wrestling T-shirt at all, period. He is a face and he is a brand that the company can get behind, that the company can and should get behind. He's recognizable to not only WWE fans now, but also the internet wrestling community and stuff. They've already shown that he can sell merchandise and stuff. You know, he created the Bullet Club, and look, even with him not being a member of the Bullet Club, it's still a worldwide phenomenon. They need a guy like Finn Balor representing their brand and stuff, and for that reason, and those reasons alone, I think that he's going to get the nod.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I think that it's time to strike with Balor. You know, yes, he is brand new to Raw, but he's also 35. He's been wrestling for 16 years. I don't think they've kept him in NXT for quite a while. I think that it's time to bring him up and bring him up big. I don't think that they have that many years left. You know, take a look at a guy like Daniel Bryan, who wrestled in Independence as Bryan Danielson for so many years. They held off on making him the main guy for so long. Once he was the main guy, he got hurt right away. I think that they will hopefully learn from those mistakes. Balor is super over. I asked my sons what the next wrestling shirts that they want, and my oldest son Cash, he said that he wanted a Finn Balor shirt. My youngest son wanted a Randy Orton shirt. So you know, I know that that's kind of a weird gauge, but that's something that I look at. I ask my kids who they like, and that tells me who's over and who they're pushing in the right way. So I think that Balor's going to go over, and I think that it should be exciting. Plus, I think that Rollins, he played the chicken shit heel champion for so long. I think it'll be fun to see him chasing the title through whatever nefarious means that he can. I think that it'll be good, and I look forward to it. So I'm going to go with Finn Balor. And on my card, what I have in the main event, and you know, this completely different topic, but you know, out of the WWE World Championship, and the Universal Championship, and this next match, what's going to actually be the main event? But the next match that we've got is a standard singles match announced a while ago before the brand split. We've got the Viper, Randy Orton versus Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman. So, Huck, who do you got in that match? Okay, Huck is disconnected. Hey. Oh, you're back on.
I'm back on. Who'd you say was going to win? I'm sorry. Who'd you say, Zane? I missed it.
It is the main event, or possibly the main event. Randy Orton versus Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar. I'm going to say Brock Lesnar, and I'm going to say Brock Lesnar, and we're going to see Brock versus Finn Balor for the WWE Universal title. Yes.
Okay. When do you expect that match? Are they going to hold that off till WrestleMania?
No, I don't. I think that we're going to see Brock versus Finn Balor. I think Brock is going to cream Finn Balor. But I think they're going to do they're going to have the rematch at WrestleMania, and Seth Rollins is going to repeat. Seth Rollins is going to eventually get the title right back at WrestleMania like he did before.
Okay, you've got some long-term booking going on. But your prediction is Brock Lesnar.
Yes, Brock Lesnar.
Okay, all right. Sign guy, who do you got in that match?
I think Orton will win, but I think they're going to do something with Slater based on Monday, and I think it'll end up being Lesnar and Slater over the next several weeks to get him through until the next time Raw's on a pay-per-view.
I gotta say, Slater was the best thing on Monday Night Raw this past week. He cut a convincing promo, totally a face promo. You know, discount what he said on SmackDown about having, you know, he started off with 2 kids, then 4 kids, then 7 kids, then an above ground pool. If you just watched Monday Night Raw and saw that promo where he said that he needed to take on Lesnar to feed his 2 daughters, that was amazing. I know I'm going to get my butt kicked, but I need to do this. I have to do this. I thought he was the standout of Monday Night Raw. Anyway, my prediction, I'm going to go Randy Orton, and I don't have it's a 50-50 to me, which is really odd, really strange for WWE where they booked it that way. I applaud them for that. You don't know who's going to win in that match. And, I'm going to say there's an outside shot that Paul Heyman turns on Lesnar and joins up with Orton. Just because I know that they signed Heyman recently, and hopefully maybe he wants to get more dates, and so he can be on SmackDown every week. So that's just my outside thing. So, what do you guys think will be the main event? Do you think that the Lesnar Orton match or the Universal Championship? I think we'll all agree that the World Championship is not going to be the main event of the night, right?
Yeah, they're definitely not going to have that as the main event.
Okay. So,
even though it'll probably be the better match out of the 3, they won't have that as the main event.
Really? You think that that'll be the best match out of those 3?
I believe that that Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler is going to be the better match out of that match. Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar. I think that Dolph Ziggler and Dean Ambrose are going to have the better match. I think that they're going to put that match in between the other 2 matches.
See, okay, I like Dean Ambrose and I like Dolph Ziggler. Out of those 2, who's got the better offense?
Oh, Dean Ambrose has a better offense.
What is good about Dean Ambrose's offense? His flying shove to the outside, or his
you talking about out of the 3 matches? You talking about out of the 3 matches has a better offense?
No. I'm just talking about out of Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler. My point is that both those guys can sell, and obviously Dolph Ziggler can sell as good as anybody. But I don't think that that's going to be a compelling matchup because I don't take either of those guys as a threat.
I think that it's going to be a great matchup because of the story they're going to tell. Dean Ambrose was saying that Dolph Ziggler is more worried about being a showboat and being he's all showing them.
I'm talking about their in-ring.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In-ring, I think that the story that they're going to tell inside the ring is going to be so much better than the other 2 stories.
Okay. All right. So what do you think is going to be the last card on the mat, or last match on the card?
The moneymaker is definitely going to be Randy Orton and Brock Lesnar. You know, he's the money guy.
Okay. All right. What about you, Sign Guy?
I think Lesnar and Orton will be the main event because they've built a card around them for the last 2 months.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna say that the Universal Championship is gonna be the last match. I think that is long term, the bigger deal, coming out of it. So that's gonna be my pick. Now there was a fan incident last night, and if you don't follow the internet, you're probably not listening to the Undisputed Wrestling Show. But you didn't really see much on actual Raw about it. When Seth Rollins was cutting his promo about the Demon King, which, Sign Guy, I know that you got confused, thought he was saying either the Demon Kane or some sort of tag team with Kane and Jerry Lawler. But a fan ran in into the ring with Seth Rollins in it. Seth kind of gave him a quick shove, and then security tackled him and dragged him out of the ring. You know, we've reported on these incidents time and time again, and a lot of them involve the former Shield members. Huck, what do you think that they need to do to prevent this from happening again?
You really can't prevent it from happening. If you can make more security, it's either you have one way to do it. You either make security tighter and you beef up you make the walls bigger or whatever. You make the big, huge hockey, like how they have in hockey, they have the huge glass walls, whatever. You do that and you kind of take away from some of the experience and stuff and some of the wrestler fan interaction and stuff, where they're slapping hands and stuff, or you keep it the way it is and you just make sure that your security stays aware. I think that the security last night's Raw did a really good job. I haven't watched Raw, but I've seen the video, and it was basically once Seth Rollins shoved this guy and stuff, the security was already right there, and there was no huge incident. I think it's a shame. I think that they really need to start prosecuting these guys to the fullest extent of the law, and really get there, really make an example out of these guys, saying, listen, it's cool that you're here. We love the fact that you spend your money to come here, but hey, please stay on that side of the wall. It's either going to take somebody getting, some serious legal punishment, or one of the wrestlers, whoever, a fan runs into the ring with, they're going to run to the ring with the wrong wrestler, and get the shit beat out of them. It's going to take one of those two situations for people to start realizing, hey, you can't do this. Somebody's going to either have to get seriously punished or seriously hurt.
Well, with the punishment aspect of it, I agree, but also that might be hard to enforce because different municipalities have different laws, and it's not an immediate thing that they can, you can't happen on a Monday and by Tuesday you have a conviction. It's going to take time on that. So, I agree with it, but also I do think that wrestlers should be a little more proactive, and the building managers should be more proactive. I don't know how security let that guy just off the gate. So, Sign Guy, you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's like, usually you have anywhere from 4 to 8 security guards around the ring in different areas of the ring and stuff. You want to have, when you have a predetermined spot where somebody's going to be out in the crowd, you concentrate a lot of your security there to back the fans up so nobody gets hurt and stuff. So, the fans are there watching this stuff, and I've been to, we've all been to, I don't know if y'all have been, but I've been to WWE house shows, and I've been to, 1 or 2 Raws and stuff. And a lot of times, you have 10, 20,000 people in this building. You can't keep your eye on everybody. And it's really easy to just slip over there and take off running before somebody realizes, oh shit, that's not one of the wrestlers, that's a fan. It takes the time to recognize that this is not one of the talents, coming into the ring and stuff.
Well, Sign Guy, do you think that they should build moats like they do for European soccer?
I don't think the building managers would allow that necessarily, but they do need to have a little bit tighter rein on it, because eventually someone is going to get through and they're going to have a broken bottle or a knife or something. Someone's going to get stabbed. So it keeps escalating like that. I thought it was a little bit better of them last night when they didn't really show the person in the ring. You just thought Seth Rollins had been put under a Papa Shango spell because Michael Cole said he was in a trance. And I just figured that the team of Kane and Jerry Lawler had put him in a trance. And I learned later, no, it was some random guy.
Yeah, the WWE production did a good job covering that up. They did not do a good job of showing Finn Balor's entrance. It should have been, it shouldn't have happened. They shouldn't have had him come out 6 days before the pay-per-view in that get-up. They should have held that off for the pay-per-view. But also, they did show him sneaking out into the smoky lit area, which if they had followed what they've always done in NXT, where they showed him where he's already in the center there, I think it would have come off a little bit better. But, obviously I've been watching Finn Balor do the makeup thing for a year now, so I knew what to expect, and so I don't know if it looked better for new viewers of him or not. So this is the Undisputed Wrestling Show on the Angry Marks Podcast Network. You can catch us at AngryMarks.com/podcast or www.theundisputedwrestlingshow.weebly.com. So, Will, you'd mentioned the awesome match between Cedric Alexander and, was it Ibushi last week on the CWC?
Yeah. And I was hoping we would get a chance to talk about it tonight because I wanted, because I'd already seen the match. I told y'all that. And even the match that I saw was nothing compared to what was shown on the WWE Network. So I want to, before I even say anything, I want to hear, what you guys thought of the match.
I've not seen it yet, so I can't add to it until I've seen it.
I thought it was great. I thought that towards the end it ran a little of the complaints that some people have of Ring of Honor, where too many false finishes. I did love the brain buster that Seti gave him, and then he couldn't put him away with that, so he immediately kicked him in the head. I thought that was awesome. I would have loved to have just seen him go over like that, but it was good. And after the announce team had signed off and Triple H came out, without any commentary or anything, and the fans were chanting, "Please sign Cedric, please sign," and he just gave him a handshake and put his arm around him and gave the fans a thumbs up. I thought that was beautiful. I thought that was, it truly gave me goosebumps, and you don't get that often these days in pro wrestling. So, Will, before we call our next guest, what were your thoughts? You said that you'd seen it already?
Yeah, I'd already seen it and stuff, but I didn't see it from that angle. And like you said, I legitimately, probably because Cedric is a very close friend of mine, I ended up crying halfway through the match, close to the end of the match. I ended up crying because I've seen Cedric, wrestle Samoa Joe and AJ Styles and Chris Hero all in the Indies and stuff. But it's something about when you see a guy and that he's putting 120% in. Like you, I wish that the kick to the back of the head would have been the finish. I understand WWE, wants everybody to do their quote-unquote finisher every match, whatever, but I feel like that kick that he gave Cedric to the back of the head was so brutal and so on time that they could have stopped the match right then. I think the match was very hot. I don't want to say spotty, but it was a good spot. You know what I'm saying, Zane? Where the spots that they did made sense. Where you could tell that these guys, in a shoot sense, had been studying each other's moves and knew each other did and stuff, was very comfortable with each other and stuff. And I think that's going to be very hard for anybody to top that match for the rest of the tournament. Yeah,
I thought it was, out of the first round, I thought that match was the best. Close second would be the Gargano and Ciampa match. But that was definitely, that put, Cedric Alexander's has been a star in Ring of Honor, and he's a veteran. That put him on the map, though, for a mainstream audience. So I thought it was awesome, and we obviously wish him the best of luck. All right, Killer Kev, why don't we try calling our next guest again?
Hello.
Hello, may we speak to Crazii Shea, please?
Hold on a sec. Things are a little crazy here at the asylum. Mr.
Okay.
Shea.
What's up?
Well, hello, this is the Undisputed Wrestling Show. I'm one of the hosts, the Bearded Wonder, Zane Paisley. Thank you so much for coming on. Did we catch you a bad time at the asylum?
Man, it's always a bad time at the asylum, but never a bad time. We take them as they come and go. It has been ridiculous. Things are going crazy, no pun intended. It's nonstop, but we do nonstop. We do nonstop well.
Is anybody blowing any fireballs or anything as we speak?
No crazy fireballs tonight. Just kind of chilling, relaxing with the family. On the 23rd of June, I was hit by a tractor and trailer, and I had to get neck surgery. So I'm not actually calling as Crazii Shea tonight, the fire-breathing maniac. I'm calling as Crazii Shea, the the OTCW, off-the-chains wrestling business owner. It's been a crazy ride, and we started up our own fed out in West Virginia. And the boys, the fans, it has been ridiculous. Good ridiculous. You know, Covey Pro, worked there for 10 years in Berkeley Springs. They had their last show in April, and Cody gave me permission to run Berkeley Springs and keep the boys employed. So I said, okay, let's do it.
Well, that was going to be one of my first questions for you. What's it like going from being a performer in the ring to the promoter now?
I miss it, man. I miss it. I miss it so much. You know, and it's not because I can't. It's because I can't. I'm not able at this point in time with the surgery. It's just not in the cards right now. I miss it, but I get a lot of joy out of watching my guys in the ring. My guys, they're some of the best guys that I've watched in the last 15 years of wrestling, you know. They're top of the top. They're the guys that want to work. You know, these guys go out, bust their ass flying. They invest into the company, you know, their time, their energy. And so far, man, it is paying off in dividends.
Well, that's awesome. How did you come up with the name OTCW?
Man, off the chains. We you know, coming into Berkeley, I know what we've been doing for 10 years with Covey Pro, and I think it, you know, Cody had his niche and he did his thing, and he did it really, really good. You know, and the only thing that I thought was missing was on the hardcore edge, the little bit of, you know, we run an NC-17 show. We aren't catering to the little ones. However, we do have stuff for them as well. We have stuff for every age and size. And if you don't mind some language, everything but the F-bomb, come on out. We put on one hell of a show.
Well, tell us about
Hey, us adults need to have some fun too.
Well, yes, that is true. That is true. Tell us
We're all just big kids, aren't we? I mean, I know you guys on the show, you guys are big kids. I've met so many people out there that enjoy the sport that say, you know, however, it's just not geared for us anymore. We feel left out. And I didn't want to do that. I included everybody. And honestly, everything but the F-bomb. Most people hear it at home anyway. What's the difference?
So what's been some of the crazier things that's happened so far?
The very first show, I knew I wasn't going to be able to wrestle after the first show. We had gotten hit the night before my first show, actually. And, I couldn't even get out of bed on my own. And, it wasn't a real good situation, but we knew that integrity means everything. If you don't at least go out and try, you know, so I went out and I did what I could, and, the flaming table was involved at our first show, main event. It's one of the craziest things that's happened so far. We just got a new general manager by the name of Rich Steve. He is coming in thinking he is just going to run shit, and us owners have a different aspect on things. It's a lot different being the boss. But let me tell you, my sense of pride for my product, for my guys, for their matches, for my fans, I could never have asked for anything better.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to kick it over to one of the other hosts. I'm going to kick it over to the incredible Huck, Will Huckabee. Huck, what do you have for Crazii Shea of Off the Chains Wrestling?
I'm going to add, my first question is this, man, because I have a lot of buddies, especially down here in the South, who went from wrestling to being a promoter and stuff. So I've got to ask you now, how many friends have you lost since you became a promoter?
Oh, man, I had friends? I didn't know I had friends. Come on, you know this business. This business there, and I love the guys to death, but there's a lot of guys that will stab you in the back the moment you give them a chance. The moment you help them out, they're just looking for a chance to screw you over. So as for friends, I don't have many friends in this business, and I didn't book on a friendly level. That's not why I'm in business. This is a business. This isn't a friendship. This is a business, and there's a difference. And for those that can't separate that, yeah, I've lost quite a few, but the ones that understand that this is a business, you know, I can't have everybody on every card. It's just not possible.
Exactly. Like I said, you know, I have friends of mine who become promoters and stuff, man. That's the first thing they say is, you know, you really start to find out who really has your back and stuff, as soon as you don't book them, you know, for a show. My next question is about the ratings and stuff. You know, I work for AWE, Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment, down in Atlanta and stuff, and they have the same kind of mentality that you have as far as wrestling, running shows, where you gotta have something for the adults, you know, for people who don't want to, you know, they don't really want to, they like family friendly, but they don't always want to see family friendly and stuff. What is your response to people who say that non-family friendly NC-17 rated shows don't draw or can't draw?
Dude, we sold out a front row in a day and a half of ticket sales being out at Berkeley Springs, Fox's Pizza. In a day and a half, we sold all the front rows. So the people that say it don't draw, I say you're not promoting.
Exactly.
That's the hard bit. Isn't that the whole part of being a promoter? Being a wrestler, I've found that it's very hard to work at some shows when there's only 8 people. Being a promoter, you have to promote. We go and do 15 miles a day flyering door to door. It's devotion that you got to have it.
So what's your favorite part about being a promoter? We all know the pitfalls and the stress and the headaches and stuff. But what's your favorite part about being a promoter and being on that side?
I like watching the guys come up to good. I like listening to their pop. I get goosebumps when a guy's having his first match and the crowd's acting like he's been there the entire show, for the last, 10 years wrestling there. I love to watch the crowd reactions now. And as a promoter, that's my job, is to watch what the fans want, to be watching. That's my job. Is I'm trying to figure out what the fans want to see. So that's my best part of it, is watching the young guys learn and grow, man, and become from, that first card guy to that top guy on the card. That's what I like to watch.
Okay. This is my last question. Before I send it over to Sign Guy, I've got to ask you this because, I wrestle in West Virginia and not in your area, further south around the Beckley, Princeton area and stuff. But I want to ask you this, with all the promotions that run in West Virginia and stuff, what separates OTCW from everybody else besides the NC-17 rating, besides the fact
besides the NC, all of our guys,
besides the fact that their promoter is a fire-breathing lunatic named Crazii Shea, what separates you guys from everybody else? Because everybody else has good talent. Everybody's using some of the best talent available and stuff, man. What makes you guys different?
We promote. We believe in our product. My guys believe in our product. We have guys that drive from Lancaster to West Virginia. That's, 2.5 hour drive to Flyer just so that people come. That's devotion. We have wrestlers that are devoted. Also, my locker room is exclusive in Berkeley Springs. My guys will not wrestle for anybody else in Berkeley Springs, or there's, within a certain mile radius. We are the show. If you want to come see something that you won't see anywhere else, guaranteed, come to OTCW. It doesn't happen anywhere else in West Virginia. It's my boys. Not just my boys. The way we promote, the way we do things, the fan interaction. If you haven't been to an off-the-chain wrestling show, you haven't been to a show. And Huckabee, me and you have to talk eventually, sir. On the off side, me and you would definitely have to have a talk. I want to talk to you on the off side of booking and business ventures on the other dates. I definitely want to talk to you, and that way you could give the word of mouth about what we're all about, man. I guarantee you it'll be something you enjoy.
Oh yeah, of course, definitely. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. We're definitely going to get up. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Kevin Sullivan's favorite wrestler. Favorite referee. Side guy. What do you have for our guest tonight?
Well, Crazii Shea, I have noticed you like to drop onto your opponents from very high altitudes. What's been the highest drop you've made so far?
48 feet. I did a 48 off the top of a roof. It was a bar show. We were outside, and it just presented itself. The second highest was in Delaware. I jumped off the fire company. We climbed up the radio tower and got on their roof, and that was about 30 feet or so. But the biggest one I've done was 4 stories, and I'll never do that again. Or maybe I will. Who knows?
Now, since you've had the injury and you had the neck surgery, are you going to try to phase out heights of that nature, or are you going to look at maybe a different wrestling style once you get back, or are you still going to be just dropping down?
That remains to be seen. However, I guarantee you, I've been the same guy for 15 years. I'm the one that pushes the limits. That will never stop. No matter what. I don't care what my ability level is, that will never stop. And if I can't perform to a Crazii Shea ability, I won't perform. And that's a personal thing. If I can't give them 100%, 150, 200%, I shouldn't be here.
Throughout.
So, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I feel like my wrestling style will change a little bit, but I am not trying to give up what made me me. That's me, man. That's the crazy stuff that, that I do. That's me. That's who I am. And if I can't go full tilt, why do it half-assed? What's the point?
Throughout wrestling, there's been a lot of people with the name Crazy as part of their name. Crazy Steve, Crazy Luke Graham, countless others. If you had to build a stable of all crazy wrestlers, who would you most want in with you?
Man, look, can we add Brian Pillman to that? Because the other's a crazy character. Brian Pillman is in that, right? Right? Tell me he's in there.
I'll allow it.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to go with Brian Pillman. I'm going to go with Super Crazy because him and I, we could have done some great shit. And on the same crazy, crazy, let me think. And then on the same aspect, the reason why I have my blue tongue to idolize George the Animal Steel. He was a nutball. So that right there, those four, us four, that's my stable. That is my stable right there. I am completely happy with that. And could you imagine the antics? Like, it could be so great. We could have so much fun. Everybody would just up each other's craziness. It would be like just literally to see who could do the crazier. Yeah, that's my pick. Definitely a Brian Pillman, George the Animal Steel. Yeah, that's my two. That's my top two, man.
Well, one of the more famous venues for wrestling, because it held a lot of very important super shows, was Shea Stadium. A lot of the bigger shows were there. I know it's gone, but if you had your chance, would you have wanted to perform one time in Shea Stadium?
Man, come on. Wouldn't yeah, just once. That, come on, Shea at Shea Stadium. You can't really beat it. I did. I shed a tear when it left. That's how everybody, like, how do you spell your name? Oh, like Shea Stadium. Now that it's gone, you say that, people look at you kind of funny. It shows your age a little bit. Shows our age a little bit.
Now, if you had to have an opponent for one of those big Shea Stadium matches, and those things usually drew 30,000 plus, what would be the ideal opponent?
Man, are we going name or are we going indie? Or you want to do one of both? How you want to work that one? Because that's...
Let's go with whoever your dream opponent would be. Independent, big name, past, present.
I would love to have a great match with Sabu while he was completely healthy and good to go. That would be my dream match, but I don't know if that's possible anymore. So if it was that dream match of ever in the perfect condition, I want Sabu when he was perfect, good health, ready to roll on his A game. If we're talking about indies, my boy Sicken, let's see, Buddha, or Shane Malice is really good too. I really like that cat. Just his work we flow. So any one of those three, even a G Raver, we did really well too. I could go one of those top four. There you go. On the indies, one of those four I'd be really happy with.
Well, at this point, I'm going to pass things back over to the bearded wonder, Zane Paisley.
What is up, Mr. Zane? What you got for me?
Once again, thank you so much for coming on with us tonight. Now, you do have a big show at the Triple B Arena a week from Saturday. That's the 27th in Berkeley Springs, West Virginia. I see that your main event is going to be a chain match. Can you tell us about Buddha and Justin Time, why they are being chained together?
Oh yeah, these guys are partner versus partner. Buddha and Time have been, Buddha and I, we go back 15 years. Time and Buddha started tagging they had a really good thing going at Covey Pro for, 4 or 5 years. And, my first show, I invited both of them. Just in time, told me everything was good to go. They'll both be there. And come to find out, just in time showed up. Buddha was nowhere to be found. I called him, and in Berkeley, I don't get good cell for service at all. My phone couldn't go through. I couldn't send texts. I had no idea what was going on. I get home, and a message from Buddha says that Time never picks him up. He's been sitting at home waiting. So, Time's been bitching about being in the main event, and so I contacted Buddha aside from Just in Time, and I invited him to my show. I actually asked him to fill in my spot against Jesse Skeleton in the main event. And I guess Just in Time just couldn't handle it. He figured that was his spot, and it's not. It was whoever's spot I wanted to be because I'm the owner. He took it upon himself to get involved. And, my boy Buddha still won, even though Just in Time got involved. And me being the condition I'm in, I can't take any bumps right now. I can't get hit. Like, that's how it is. You hit me, you are fired. You will not work for me ever again. That's that way right now. So, Just in Time made some threats against me after beating Buddha's ass after the match. And, Buddha got on the mic and said to make something violent happen. So I got a 6-foot of heavy steel chain. I got 2 old style handcuffs. I'm going to chain them together. And I'm going to let Buddha beat his ass from pillar to post. The rules of the match are you have to drag your opponent from corner to corner to corner to corner without an offensive move being hit in between on your, on the guy that's giving the moves. So, this match, it's Buddha's. He outweighs his opponent. He outmuscles his opponent. He outsmarts his opponent. Just in Time, you asked for something that you did not want. It's a monkey's paw. You said you really wanted it, but it is not what you want. You just poked a sleeping dragon. You don't forgot about Buddha. You left your partner, and then you beat his ass, and you call this man your brother? You have the audacity to call this man your brother and say, look what I did. Look what I caused you to do. No, sir. Every action has a reaction, and you are not going to like the reaction to your actions. Bet your ass.
All right, so that is coming up on the August 27th at the Berkeley Springs Triple B Arena. How can our listeners find out more information about that?
You can go to our Facebook page, Off the Chains Wrestling. We've got a great setup. We've been working on it really hard. A lot of work into this. Another match that I really want to push for the 27th. We have involved the sheriff, John Boy Justice. The local canine cop at the end of the sheriff's match slid in the ring, held up his hand, the crowd went crazy, and then the canine officer proceeded to lay out the sheriff in the middle of the ring. So we have the battle of Berkeley's finest, the sheriff versus the local canine officer, Tony Link, John Boy Justice versus canine officer Tony Link. And I guarantee you there is no love lost between the sheriff and the town of Berkeley. This is going to be awesome.
As long as it doesn't involve the fire department, then we're good with that. Sign guys run into issues with firefighters being in the ring.
It never ends good.
Never ended good.
Yeah, never ends good.
It ended up in the hospital, but it didn't end up good. So Off the Chains Wrestling on Facebook. We've had John before. I want you to give a quick plug for the Asylum Sweatshop.
Oh man, we make all custom tees, all merchandise, dresses, bandanas, t-shirts. Basically, we are a one-stop screen print shop. Contact us for all your needs. Guaranteed you will not be let down. We have not missed a deadline ever in the 4 years that we've been running. We are on point and on time, what you need to make money off your merch. And that's Asylum Facebook, Asylum Sweatshop on Facebook. You can't miss us.
Do you do koozies also?
Man, we do everything. If you say to do it, I will learn how to do it. Like, we will print you anything. We are that type of shop. If you come to us with some crazy ass design, we will figure out a way to screen print it. That's what we do.
Awesome. Well, Crazii Shea, anything else that you need to let our listeners know about?
No, man, I just want to tell everybody to come out to the 27th at Off the Chain Wrestling. I have put my sweat, blood, and tears into this. Being that I can't wrestle now, I'm planning to put on one hell of a show. It's going to be a spectacular. My boys are ready, and I also want to thank everybody for all the get well wishes for my surgery and all like that. Like, everybody's support, it means the world. And don't worry, the Lunatic Army is not forgotten. We're not on the back burner. We are resting and recovering. We're just waiting for our day. The time is coming. The time is coming.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We look forward to hearing from you again. You're always one of our favorites. And best of luck with Off the Chains Wrestling and August 27th at the Triple B Arena.
Man, thank you for all you guys do, and thank you for having me. As always, it's a pleasure. Anytime you ever want me on, I'm just a holler away. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
All right, guys, stay crazy.
All right. Well, we are wrapping up for the evening. Remind our listeners what you got coming up this weekend.
All right. Well, Friday, once again, they'll be in East Ridge, Tennessee for UEW facing Menace from a big, huge rematch from a big, huge match we had at NWA Smoky Mountain 3 years ago. And then Saturday will be Warzone Wrestling in Knoxville, Tennessee. Come see me beat up 1.5 of the death row inmates, Shane Daniels. Then you'll see me. Actually, I think they have a bunch of people on the Saturday shows. Tommy Dreamer. Who else? Too Cold Scorpio, Joe Black. My buddy Brad Cash, who just got finished in the King of the Deathmatch tournament. It's gonna be a huge, huge show Saturday night, man.
Awesome. Sign Guy, remind our listeners what you've got coming up this weekend.
Saturday, I'll be back in Bremerton, CPW and SCW combined show with B-Boy out of Lucha Underground appearing. Saturday is also the annual Patty's Cruise-In in Portland. I won't be there, but it's always a great time. Sunday, maybe not at NWA Blue Collar. I haven't got the word if I am needed for that one or not this week, so I may be there, may not. Maybe I'll show up with Chico and Vinny V. I don't know.
This Friday, I will be at WCWO in Indianapolis, Indiana, 1151 South Kentucky Avenue at the Outlaw Arena. Always a fun night there. I won't be there because it is going to be my 12th wedding anniversary, but I do want to let all of our listeners know that they need to check out on Saturday night, if they're anywhere in South Bend or anywhere in Indiana or Michigan, they need to go to South Bend, Indiana. It's a huge show for Strong Style Wrestling. They've got scheduled Drew Skills, obviously the main event. Always great to have Drew at your shows. Congo Kong's going to be there. Aaron Rex, formerly known as Damian Sandow. Sabu's going to be there. Shane Mercer's going to be there. Sugar D's going to be there. Remy and Apollo are going to be there. And Shigehiro Irie, who is an awesome Japanese wrestler that's been staying with at Colt Cabana's place in Chicago since Colt's been in Scotland. Shigehiro's been taking residency in his apartment or in his studio apartment in Chicago, Illinois. I had a chance to work with Shigehiro a couple weeks ago. An amazing guy. He's going to be on the show. Just announced today, maybe yesterday, the main event of that is going to be M-Dog Matt Cross, or if you're a Lucha Underground fan, that is Son of Havoc, and his opponent was going to be King Ricochet, or Prince Puma if you're a Lucha Underground fan. So that is worth your drive alone. If you're anywhere in the Midwest, you need to go check that out. And if you go, tell them that the Undisputed Wrestling Show sent you, and say hi to Drew Skills, and buy a t-shirt from him. All right, fellas, another awesome show. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. Reminder, next week we've got The Last Warrior Grey Wolf with the Prophet Rick Craig and Concussion. So it should be a great show. Thanks to Crazii Shea and Beer City Bruiser, and thank you for listening. Have a great evening.